Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be how to make women chase you. Well, I've got a good short success story that basically covers the first 4 dates that this particular viewer had with a new woman that he met. And if you remember, this is the same guy who a few weeks ago I answered a video or an email of his in a video newsletter titled Choosing the Wrong Person, where he actually said in his original email that, hey, I tried your stuff and it doesn't work. So I obviously gave him some corrective action, tweaked his balls a little bit in choosing the wrong person. And so he went and re-examined things. He went through the book 4 times. And if you've been watching me for a while, you've probably heard me say countless times over the years, even if you think I'm full of shit, if you just apply the things that I teach, you will see that they work for you. And that's what this guy is seeing here. So it's a great success story of how a guy picked up this girl, he met her in a restaurant, went on a date, and then seduced her by the 4th date. So obviously now he is a believer. And what's great is he points out a lot of little things. So here's a guy a few weeks ago was like, this is bullshit. Now he's like, dude, your book works exactly like you say it does, as long as I apply it like I'm supposed to and you tell us to. So I got a quote that I wrote, and I'm going to go through his email and see what he did right. The quote says, human beings tend to more highly value what they have to work for versus that which is given freely and abundantly. Scarcity creates value. Being different, mysterious, self-assured, and willing to take risks makes you stand out amongst the crowd of average Joes. When it comes to dating, attraction, and seduction, women will work harder for and chase men who are mysterious, charming, unpredictable, and fun-loving. Men who exhibit these qualities are coveted, chased, cherished, and competed for by women who normally never act this way towards regular average guys. So I see that a lot. Women occasionally that don't know me or just they see one video, oh, the guy is supposed to chase the girl, and they get all mad and bent out of shape, and they don't really get into understanding what I teach and why I teach that way. They just get butthurt and emotionally upset over what I said. But the reality, once they get into it, they go, because a lot of my biggest advocates are women. Like right now on my Amazon.com reviews on my first book, How to Be a 3% Man, which if you haven't gotten it yet, you can get on Amazon or audible.com for free if you do an Audible free trial. But point being is the best review on Amazon that's got the most likes, that typically, at least in the US, tends to be the one that comes up first, is from a woman stating how much it has helped her understand herself. So with that said, let's go through this guy's email and see what he did correctly. He says, hi, Coach. I would put a title on this email as From Your Method Did Not Work to Your Method Works Great, just like you said in the book. Well, the title's a little long. I try to keep the titles between 5 to maybe 7 words, because if you notice, they just get too long on a small screen. Just FYI, if you're going to try to name what you think I should call your email in a video newsletter, try to keep it between 5 to 7 words in the title. He says, after reading your book 4 times now and practicing it in the real world, I am confident enough to tell your viewers that your book is amazing. I've met a gal at a restaurant who was our server. We were watching a game, and I could feel she is into me because she kept asking me if I wanted more beer. So here she is. She's kind of lingering, smiling a little more than she normally would. Hey, you need another beer, even though he doesn't really need more beer. So she's coming up for reasons to interact with him and talk with him. And this is how women go out of their way to get a man's attention, who they like. They tend to linger. If you're working out at a gym, they'll come over and sit down next to you or near to you on a piece of equipment. And you'll probably catch them out of the corner of their eye checking you out. If they put themselves in your orbit like that, that's usually as far as most women will go, unless you're at a party or a social event. They'll get closer and closer. Hopefully, you'll know what to do with that interest. But most guys, they have no fucking idea. They can't even recognize the signs. And obviously, this guy read the book 4 times, and he saw He correctly pointed out that she was into him. So he says, however, I didn't do anything until the end of the game. So think about it. He's there just having a good time, acting like, well, of course this girl's into me because this shit happens like everywhere I fucking go. And when that's your reality, you're not in a rush. You're more of in the mindset of, well, is this girl good for me? Is she kind of cool? Let's see how it goes. I'm going to take my time. Because most guys are going to jump right all over that, trying to engage her in conversation. He's just kind of, remember, if you're abundant and you have lots of choices, you're not going to be in such a rush to jump all over the first girl, pretty girl that bashes her eyelashes at you, or bats her eyelashes at you. He says, I opened a short conversation with her, and I asked her Instagram account name. I followed her right there, and without waiting for her to follow back or anything, I just left. So, I mean, that's a very simple, low-risk way to use social media. You follow her, she follows you, whatever it happens to be. Find out what her social media is, follow her that way. Because, quite frankly, it's a lot easier to block somebody on social media than it is when you give out your phone number, then you have to block them later. She followed back after her work on the same day, and just a day after, she posted a story on Instagram of her drink at a bar. I replied that I want that so bad, and she replied, then come and get one. Pretty obvious. She's making it easy for him. Why? Because she likes him. These are the kind of women that will chase you. When they're getting bombarded with guys that they have no interest in, guys are throwing their dicks at them left and right. Here she is, reaching out to the guy, and hey, come meet up with me. I went to the bar with her, and she introduced me to her coworker. And I took her to another place, and after that, to speed up my dating progress, just like you said in the book. So he's taking her to multiple locations, which, like I talk about in the book, gives the impression, at least psychologically, if you're getting in and out of the car and going different places or taking an Uber or the bus or the train or whatever, because most guys pick a girl up or they meet her out, they have dinner, they have a few drinks, they go to a happy hour, and then that's the end of the date. Here you go on 3 or 4 different dates. It gives her the experience like she's been out with you a bunch of different times to a bunch of different places. Makes her feel safe, makes her feel comfortable with you, and it speeds up the seduction process. Because like I say in the book, most women are going to sleep with the average guy by the 3rd or 4th date. We made out all night, and I didn't set up any future dates and said goodbye. I didn't text or call because I was sure, just like you said, she will contact you if she likes you. It's true, but it doesn't mean that you go out on a date and you just never call a girl again and she's going to take it from there. Some women take longer. The idea is you want to create the conditions. It's kind of like the big snowball at the top of the hill. You just kind of have to gently push it over the hill, and the momentum will take it down the rest of the way. So what you're looking for from the chasing perspective is she's starting to initiate calls and texting, WhatsApp messages, Snapchat, Facebook messages, Skype, FaceTime, whatever it happens to be, texting. Bottom line is she's reaching out to you when you're not waiting to hear back from her, or vice versa. It's just like the last conversation thread ended on your last date or when you last talked, and now she's creating a new opportunity, in other words, putting herself into your orbit once again. So point being is, like I talk about in the book, usually 3rd, 4th week is when the average woman starts chasing. Some will do it more. Some will do it right after the first date. Some will do it when you meet them. You'll get their number and they'll get yours, and they'll start texting you within a day or two. And with those women, you really don't have to even pursue. But point being is the fallback, you always go back to the book once a week if you don't hear from her. But when a woman starts chasing you, when she really likes you and you're doing everything right, not being a douchebag in your dates, she's going to do it more and more. Why? Because she values you. She likes you. She chose you. She texted a day after saying that I had a really good time and thank you, which means you did a good job and I'm willing to go out with you again. You are correct. So I see this question a lot. A lot of guys will go out on a date and then the girl will text later that night or like within an hour And they think, well, hey, do I ask her out for a second time? Well, you're still kind of had your first date. So no, you don't ask for a second date on the day of your first date. But in this case, she waited, let's see here. She texted a day after, so I assume he means the day after the date, she reached out, saying she had a great time. I did too. I'd love to see you again. When are you available? That's how you handle that. You make the next date. She's initiating it. It's her idea to get together. You're going to assume, like the book says, that she wants to see you because she reached out. Because again, that's what they put themselves into your orbit, but they don't want to be the aggressor, if you will, and ask you out. Some women will, but most will not. They'll just call or text you, see what you're doing, how are you, had a great time the other night, I was thinking about you, are your ears burning, is your nose twitching? Because those are supposed to be signs that somebody's thinking about you. So he says, I set up another date at my place, and we had an amazing fun time in the floor play, but she said, you were very cute, but I don't do sleepovers, and I just need to know you a little more, and we didn't have sex tonight. So in other words, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm really thinking about fucking you, but I just want to make sure you're not a fucking lunatic. Remember, women got to feel safe and comfortable. He says, I took her to another place a couple of days later, which would be his fourth date, and he says, no, every time she reached out, I set up a date, and when she was blowing up my phone in between dates, I was replying very short to make her want me more. Well, the key is not to be a cold dick, but charming, playful, get to the point. You got to get back to what you're doing. A big mistake a lot of guys make that they don't know any better is they getting into texting and chit-chatting all fucking day long. And this goes on 4 or 5 days all day long, and then you go to ask her out on the weekend, and she's like, oh, I really want to see you, but gosh, I'm so busy. It's just a bad weekend. You'll get stuff like that. Oh, my schedule's real crazy. It's crazy right now. You'll get stuff like that. That's why the phone is for setting dates, because if you start teaching in the beginning that you're just going to all day 24/7 be available to chit-chat, you're going to spend more time chit-chatting on the phone than you are in person seducing her. And the reality is, you meet a girl, you want to be with her in person, not talking over a fucking digital device. Because you keep doing that, you'll end up fucking fixing her clogged toilet, putting a new battery in her car, changing her tire, but you'll never get anywhere close to the panani. He says, I told her what's up. Oh, wait, let me back up a little bit. So he says, in the fourth date, she was very playful, and I told her, let's go to a hotel because I want to have more fun with you. She said no. And I was like, Coach said she will sleep with you on the fourth date if you do everything right. What the hell's going on? So he's having a few doubts here. He says, I told her what's up. So he messes with her a little bit. Because what happens right here? So he's like, let's go back to the hotel. In other words, when you tell a girl, hey, let's go get a hotel room, you're basically saying, hey, let's go fuck now. Even though you're not saying that, that's what she's going to take it as. So he's offering her this, which is what we would call in sales the trial close. In other words, how open is she at this moment in the present moment to going back to a hotel? She says, no way. Now, the average guy is going to be like, that doesn't know me, well, what's the matter? I thought you really liked me. You were all over me. You don't feel comfortable? I don't get it. He's going to get mad. He's going to get upset. And that's going to cause her to feel unsafe and uncomfortable. And it's going to make the woman go, you know what? I'm glad I said no to going to the hotel with you because you're a fucking Fruit Loop and I'm not going to be anywhere alone with you. And it actually destroys the intimacy and causes her to start back away. But look what he says. I told her what's up. He says, what's up? Are you following a 2 weeks rule or something like that to sleep with me? With a big smile. So she responds with, hey, we're not going back to the hotel. And he goes, what are you following, some kind of rules? In a playful way. What does that communicate? He's not attached. He can take it or leave it. And guess what? She said, okay, I'm on my period and we can do whatever you want in 2 more days. Great job on handling the objection. Oftentimes, the denial really just means a slight delay. In this case, she was on her period. So it's also possible that if she was on her period, she would have said yes, but at the end of the day, he handled it right. Because I'm not going to let anything get under my skin. Because women always want to sleep with me anyways. It doesn't matter what's the second date or the fourth date or the fifth date. But again, most of them, third or fourth date, it's going to happen. So, I mean, this is a pretty great turnaround in a short period of time for this guy. So he says, Coach, now listen to this. This is a girl who really, really likes you. He says, Coach, she booked a hotel as we agreed on a day before for that date, and she paid for it. I like this girl. She called me saying which hotel and room number she's in, and I just showed up with a bottle of wine. How cool is that? It's like a fucking staycation. He says, this is just 2 weeks dating progress by following all of your rules. Now listen next. It gets even better. This guy's a good fucking student. He says, we had sex for all day and all night. I have also used the good quality questions of your book during sex, which made her have multiple orgasms all night. In other words, tell me what you like. Where do you want to kiss? Where do you want me to kiss you? How hard do you want me to suck? How hard do you want me to push? It's like get her to guide you, and then she'll help you get her fucking off. And when you get a woman off and you give her good sex, she's going to remember that. And she's going to be even more excited to see you the next time. He says, it's funny. I asked her past sexual experience just to know her more. No, don't do that, dude. You're like playing with fire. It's like you're playing with a live hand grenade hoping the pin's not going to mistakenly come out. Don't fucking do that. None of your business, none of her business. Leave it be. It just never ends well. Because if you start telling her, that shit's going to come back and bite you in the ass. You don't believe me? Then go ahead and do it. Tell her everything. And have her tell you everything. And then when you get into a disagreement, she's going to throw that shit in your face. And if you're emotionally off your center in that moment, there's a good chance you won't handle it appropriately. My goal is to stack the deck in your favor, to give you the greatest chance for success, not to make things unnecessarily difficult on yourselves, because quite frankly, people already do that enough. So he says, I asked her past sexual experience just to know her more, and she told me before she counted her orgasms with her ex-boyfriend. And when I asked her, okay, how many orgasms did you have that tonight with me? She says, I can't believe it. I don't even know. It was a lot that I couldn't count anymore. Dude, you're a fucking stud. She's calling me every day, and in just 2 weeks, we see each other 2 to 3 times a week. How hard is that? 2 fucking weeks, and now they're together 2 to 3 times a week, all because it's her idea, and she's chasing him. She obviously really liked him, but he did the right things to facilitate her chasing. You are the best coach and mentor of my life. Thank you for being Coach Corey Wayne. Well, thanks for being a great student, dude, and being coachable. That's the important thing. You took the constructive feedback in the first video I did for you, and you didn't get fucking butthurt. You're just like, what do I need to do? And I'll do it. And you did it. And you did her. I also have a question that nobody asked you on YouTube videos before. She wants to be exclusive, but I want to still hang out with her till I fall in love with her. Great, then tell her that. Say, I really like you a lot, but I want to wait until I fall in love with you before we be exclusive. If that's your truth, you got to speak it. Now, there's a potential chance she gets pissed off and says, well, that's not good enough. If we're going to have sex, when you can't be sleeping with anybody else. Again, you got to live your truth, bro. She'll respect you more if you do what you want. And you say what you want. I don't like jumping into relationships fast. If she brings it up, which she will, how do I respond to her without scaring her that I want a fuck buddy and I don't want to be your boyfriend at all? Can I say, ask me that question again in a few weeks? Just say, well, we just started dating. It's only been a couple weeks. I want to take my time and get to know you. And I'm just not ready yet. Let's take it slow. I really want to get to know you. I'm having so much fun with you. You got to speak your truth. You got to stand up for yourself. You can't go and commit to being in a relationship when you don't want it, because you're going to fucking resent it later. And the reality is women are pretty fucking intuitive, and she's going to know that you're full of shit and you don't really mean it. So speak your truth and let the chips fall where they may, even if it means she's like, well, screw you, I'm not dating you anymore. Because that's a risk as well. It might happen. But, if you're giving her the best orgasm she's ever had, if I was a betting man, as long as you keep doing the right thing, she's going to be all over your fucking ass. So, great job, dude. So if you've got a challenge in your personal or professional life that you'd like to get my help with, you can go to my website, click the products tab, and book whatever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.